Hey squad, welcome back to Prepping with Sarge. So inevitably, when you get into preparedness, you are going to have to come around to your own personal safety and security. And how are you going to manage that when SHTF, right? Now, SHTF can be something small and localized, like a storm that has caused looting. We've talked about that on my channel before. Yes, this is a real thing. When hurricanes happen, people evacuate the city, and then looters look for opportunistic houses that have been evacuated, and they go and clean them out, and there's not enough police to go around to manage that. So that's one example. We also had a couple years ago here, we had some rioting in the city over social justice issues, and then unfortunately there were some bad apples here who were not peacefully protesting, who instead took it as an opportunity to do mayhem, destruction, and theft. Those things did get a little testy in this area, and there was threats that I saw online about going into residential areas and starting to destroy personal property, at which point you're going to have to make a decision if somebody's coming into your house and they mean to do you harm in order to take from you, because they're probably going to have to like disable you to take what they want unimpeded. You're going to have to make a decision what you're going to do about it. You can sit there and beg and plead for your life, or you can say my family matters and I'm going to fight to the death. That's up to you. I'm not telling you what to do, believe me. But let's talk about a couple things here. First of all, there's a saying that we have in the community about it's better to be tried by 12 than carried by 6. What does that mean? Well, first of all, it means that, you know, if you have to defend yourself, what people are saying is take your chances in court with a jury rather than, you know, try to negotiate with somebody who's trying to kill you, right? That's basically, you could probably interpret it a few different ways, but that's how I interpret it, okay? So, yes, I generally am going to agree with that. Anything I say from here on out is not legal advice. These are just how I choose to handle it. And I will tell you that my decisions have been based on speaking to lawyers that I'm friends with or family lawyers, things like that, right? So, number one, I know a lot of us have home defense weapons, right? And you've kind of thought this out. Hopefully you've gotten some training too from somebody who is skilled several levels above you in things like how to defend your home, things like slicing the pie, what is a fatal funnel, flanking, things like that, right? How to do a retention reload. If you don't know what those things are, you're not ready. You need to go take some training. But let's say that you've done all that, you've done your training. Whatever you've chosen for your home defense instrument, tool, whatever you want to call it, right? It's got to be something that you train with, right? So it doesn't do you any good to go out and spend $800 on a really nice Kimber, or actually those are probably more a SIG or whatever, and then you put it in a bedside desk drawer and you never take it out and practice with it. And I don't mean just practicing at the range. You need to do, you know, what we would call movement kinetic type training. You can do this at certain outdoor ranges with a trainer. You can do things like IDPA or the Pistol Association, Defensive Pistol Association, I think is what it's called, where you're actually going to go and move and hit moving targets that pop up on you. Sometimes those targets are behind cover. That's the kind of training you need to do. Training at a static range where the target's not moving is not enough. If you don't have access to those things, then think about seeking out like paintball and airsoft in your area, right? Because you can get some really good training in a safe way doing those kind of things, right? But for me personally, what I use for my home defense tools are very much vanilla in that they come out of the box a certain way, and I'm not doing a lot of customizing, right? So there are a lot of people out there who will do like a trigger job, or they'll get like engravements with like a Punisher skull or FAFO, things like that. Well, okay, it's your gear, you customize it however you want, but what you need to know, and this is information that I've heard from lawyers, is that if you're in a situation where you have to defend your property, that is going to be confiscated from you while the investigation is going on. And if they decide to go to trial because somebody in your area, because different areas look at these things differently, somebody in your area has decided that you wanted to take a life as opposed to you were defending your body from imminent harm, and you were afraid for your safety, or you were afraid for your family's safety, right? There are places in this world, and even in the United States, where self-defense is not looked at the same. So they're going to take that, and if you've got a Punisher skull on there, an FAFO, or we don't dial 911 in this house, that's another one I've seen. they're going to make you look really, really bad in front of that jury. So you chose, remember this, you chose to be tried by 12 instead of carried by 6. That's a choice you made. But now you have to bear the consequences of that, which is you don't know what you're going to get with that jury. So if you have something that's very out of the box, looks like it how it's shipped, and you haven't customized it to make it look like you're some psychopathic killer, then your chances are probably going to be a little bit improved, okay? Yeah, I know some of you aren't going to like what I just said there. I'm just telling you what's been told to me by lawyers that have looked at these kind of cases. And you can do your own research, right? This is just what I choose for my household, right? Now, is it okay to put a flashlight? Yeah, that's an obvious thing that low light conditions, you need a flashlight so that you see your target more clearly and you don't accidentally hit an innocent person. That's very defendable. Other things might not be, right? All right, and then the last little point here, and again, people can disagree with me. This is just my advice for myself. If I ever had to, and God forbid, I hope I never have to. I don't want to have to ever hurt somebody. I really don't. But I will defend myself, and I definitely will defend my family, 100%. If that happens, remember that when the police arrive on the scene, their job is not to protect your right to defend yourself. Their job is to determine, was a crime committed here, and were you the person that committed the crime? Did you just commit murder, right? So you need to do your own research, take some classes on this, talk to a lawyer, and determine what, if anything, you're going to say when they arrive, right? Now, some people will say, and again, this is not legal advice, don't be stupid, this is just me talking out loud. Some people have told me to say, I was in fear for imminent danger to my safety, and I took action to stop the threat. And then don't say anything else. If they have more questions, you ask to speak to a lawyer. Okay. Now, other lawyers have also said to me, don't say anything at all other than, you make sure that it's clear that your hands are clearly visible. Whatever weapon you used, as soon as they are arrived, you follow their instructions. If possible, put it on the floor, step away from it, and wait for further instructions. If you have it in your holster, don't reach and grab it until they tell you, and then don't say anything else until you have spoken to a lawyer. Those are two very, very different aspects of legal advice, that both of which have been told to me, both of which by lawyers. You're going to have to decide for yourself how you're going to handle this situation, and maybe you have to take into account where you live and what the laws are like there, what the prosecuting attorneys are like there, how self-defense is looked at in your community, because it's going to vary from location to location, okay? What I do recommend is do your own research, take some classes on your self-defense rights in your community, know what you're going to do in advance. You don't want to be scrambling and trying to figure that out, looking those things up on your phone when the police are en route to your house because you told them that you just shot somebody to stop a threat to your safety, right? Think about those things, right? So again, nothing I've said here is legal advice. You're gonna have to make your own decisions on this, and I strongly, strongly encourage you to train on how to handle these dynamic situations if you had to defend yourself in your home, and to get legal advice or take some classes on what the legal advice is for your area for self-defense if, God forbid, you ever have to defend yourself and things get violent and kinetic, okay? All right. Let me know down in the comments below, do you disagree with me? And if you want to trick out your rifle or whatever with, the Punisher skull or whatever, or whatever you want to do with it, maybe don't make that your home defense tool, okay? Maybe your home defense tool is very, very basic, ships out of the box that way, and you've not made any modifications to it to make you look like that you were looking forward to this opportunity to bring violence to somebody that brought violence to you. I get it. Sometimes these laws are really messed up, and the good guy is often punished. That's why we have to be very, very careful, okay? Hey, folks, I care about you. Make sure you're taking good care of yourself out there. Make sure you're making smart decisions for you and your family. And most of all, keep planting your seeds, keep stacking your silver. This is Prepping with Sarge.